Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my birth story slash labour vlog. So I have a few videos which I'm going to be putting in between me telling the story, because I put all the clips together. I've got them all on my laptop here and I've added some text to it so that I can watch the videos as I'm speaking, so I know what videos are going to be playing when you're watching this, if that makes sense. So I've already edited the other bit of the video, and this bit I'm going to insert into the other bit with voiceovers, so this bit won't be, sometimes you're seeing me, sometimes you're just hearing me and watching videos of real time. So there will be videos of the actual like labour and stuff, but my labour was 3 days long, so I have many clips and a lot to go through and talk about. So before we get started, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video if you like it, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and click the bell to get notified whenever I upload a video. I'm going to be doing loads of baby related videos, but I'll also be doing normal videos too. I am going to be filming after this a birthday wish list, because I asked on my Instagram and you guys still would like to see that video, so it will be a 19th birthday wish list. Last year I obviously took a break from YouTube, so I didn't do a 18th birthday wish list or what I got for my 18th birthday, but I will definitely be doing it this year for 19. I have no idea what I'm doing for my birthday. My birthday is November the 9th, so it's not even too long away, but like I don't even know what I'm going to do for it, because obviously I have little Aprillia now. So my baby is called Aprillia Marie Shelley. So Shelley is my boyfriend's last name, and we went with that instead of mine, because eventually I will have that name too and then she'll have a different name. It'll be confusing. But yes, we are here. She is born. She is downstairs right now asleep with Patrick, who's my partner, and her dad. So yeah, they're downstairs. She's having a sleep. So I thought now is a good time to get this video done. So she is a week and a couple of days old, so I think today might be 11 or 12 days old. And yeah, she was born on the 14th of September, which was exactly her due date as well, which is really special. And obviously my labour started on the 12th of September, Tuesday, and she wasn't born till Thursday, so it was a very stressful time. Technically it started on Monday, but I will explain that all in a minute. What is happening to this piece of hair? But yes, I'm going to be filming this video today, so I hope you guys like it, and let's get on with the video. So it's all started on Monday. I was sitting literally right in this spot right here on my bed. I think I was watching YouTube or TikTok or something on my phone, and I just felt this little gush of water. And first of all I just thought I'd been needing a wee for ages, so I thought, oh, maybe I just like waited too long and I've accidentally wet myself a bit. But then I felt it more, so I put my hand down there. I know this sounds really gross, but I put my hand down there to feel, and it just felt like loads of water, and I was like, I think my waters are broken. So I texted Patrick, because he was outside the door like by the stairs doing some stuff, and I was like, come here quick, I think my waters are broken. And he ran in the room, and the way that I could tell that it was broken, I was like, if I get up and it gushes more, that's how I know that I haven't just wet myself. So I stood up, and you could just like a bit, and you could just see the wet patch on the bed, and it's like, yeah, I definitely haven't wet myself. It definitely was my waters, and they kept coming out a little bit more. So then we rung the hospital. We tried ringing the number that they give you, the like midwifery number, but they weren't answering. They were taking so long. It was going on and on, like being on hold with that music and stuff, and then they'd say their message and it would go on so many times. So we decided to just hang up and call the actual hospital. Also, I gave birth in St. Peter's Hospital, so we decided to just call the hospital. So we did that. We called the hospital, and they answered, and they said, we asked for the Abbey wing, which is where I wanted to give birth. The Abbey wing, this birth centre, because it's a really nice room. It has like a kitchen and stuff, and it's like really big. It has a birth pool, kitchen, pull down bed and everything like that, and you can stay in there afterwards. When you like have to stay the night, you get to stay in there. So we called them, and they said that they'd put us over to maternity. Patrick was the one who said it. He was like, oh, my partner's waters have just broken, and they were like, okay, what's her name? So we said my name, and they were like, okay, we'll send it over to the midwives, and then hung up on us. So we was like, so basically Patrick's mum is a doula, so she kind of knows all this stuff, and we know anyways, if the waters break, then you have to go in to get checked because of infection, because once your waters break, it's infection, your baby's like right there, if you know what I mean. So there's more of a risk of infection. And yeah, the way she just hung up on us and never called us back, never asked us any questions, was really bad, because what if we hadn't have known and we didn't end up going in until I naturally went into labour? And I don't know when I would have gone naturally into labour, because I ended up being induced. So if I hadn't have been induced, like I don't know when I would have gone into labour naturally. So we thought, okay, what we'll do is we'll try and stay home as much as we can and get some rest in, because we obviously knew that labour was starting and then she would have to be born at least, well, it should have been within 24 to 48 hours because of the infection. So we did some resting and we waited until 3, so my waters broke at 3 something. I put it on the screen because I can't remember exactly, but it was 3 something p.m. So we waited until 3 something p.m. the next day. That whole time I was so nervous, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, like we're gonna have this baby within what we thought, like within today or tomorrow, like Monday or Tuesday. Didn't come till Thursday, but we didn't know that at the time. We was like, yeah, we're gonna definitely have our baby by then because of infection. So once it got to that point, we was like, we can't wait any longer, it's been 24 hours, we need to call the hospital back again. So we called the maternity number again, and this time they actually answered, and they had no record of me calling or that I had my name down. They never wrote my name down, never told anyone that my waters had broken, so they didn't even know, and they're like, yeah, come in immediately. So we went in at 6:07 p.m. we went into the hospital, and that's when I got some checks. So first of all, they gave me like a little wee pot to check my weight. I'm guessing that was all good because they never said anything to me, they just took the wee and went off. And then we got put into this little room and they checked baby's heartbeat. I think I have a video for this, so I'll let you listen to the heartbeat. There, I got the heartbeat checked and just my belly in general, just to make sure she was moving okay, and yeah, that was all good. So then at 7:07 is when we got admitted into our room. So again, I have a few videos, but yeah, when we first got into the room, I got put onto this monitor. They gave me some socks and they also gave me a gown, but I didn't have to wear it, so I decided not to, because I was comfortable in what I was wearing. I just had like a Gymshark top and some comfy shorts on. Not the most glamorous outfit, but I mean, I'm labouring, you know, I don't really care what I look like as much. In all these videos at the start, I'm so excited because I'm thinking I'm going to meet my baby girl today or like tomorrow morning. That's like when we thought she was going to be born. We were all putting in our guesses of when she was going to be born, like, and they're all like 7 a.m. the next day, or maybe a bit later, even like 7 p.m. the next day. And she was a little stubborn one. She was like, no, I'm coming 2 days later. But yes, so I got monitored. I had 2 monitor things. They were really rubbish at the beginning, right? Because they didn't tell us like anything. They kind of just put the monitors on and then were like, you need to stay on the monitor, and walked away. So I didn't know what part of, like, what each of the monitors kind of did, but I had the little machine next to me, so we were watching, and as you can see in these videos, we're looking and we think the bottom one is her heartbeat, which it was, and the top one we thought was her movements, because the number would go up every time she moved. That she would move and then the number would go up, and then she would stop moving and it would go down. What's going on? Her heart. It was on 152. It's because she kicked out the way. Oh, there you go. Let's go back up.
There you go, it's building up again.
So it's on 120, she's going down here. Then up. It's like 125-ish. Told you. So that's what we thought, but then when the woman came in, she was like, oh, can you not feel those contractions? And I was like, what? And they were like, the top monitor was monitoring my contractions, and apparently I was already having contractions. And once she said that, I could kind of feel it, and it wasn't painful, but I could, at the beginning, it does get painful. At the beginning, it wasn't painful. It was just like, I could feel it tightening. My whole belly would go tight and then it would go. But because she was like all baby in my belly, there was like no anything in there. Every time she would normally move, it would feel like that anyways, because she would stretch and she would use up the whole thing. So I always thought whenever I was feeling that it was just her moving, but it wasn't, it was contractions. And so, but I feel like that was quite bad that they never told me what the monitors even were.
So what is the time? We're currently 7:49 and that says 48, but we are in labour. We're having contractions. How you feeling?
Good.
Didn't even notice she was having contractions. We thought it was baby's movement.
She didn't tell me,
so yeah, we're having contractions every what?
I don't know. I don't know how to read it.
Every like
it doesn't have like a time.
Minutes. I'd say like every 3 to 4 minutes, would you say?
They're not painful.
It's not painful yet, no. Exciting!
So yes, so after sitting there for a bit, I then got a catheter put in. I find it so funny looking back at these videos and being like, we really thought that was the baby moving, and it wasn't. It was literally contractions, and we didn't even know. The time that they came back in to tell me that I was getting contractions was 7:38 p.m. And then at 8:39, so a whole hour later, they put a cannula in and took my blood. So I wouldn't have normally chosen to have the cannula because everything in labour is your own choice. What is that? But because my bloods are quite hard to get, I thought it would be a good idea to have that cannula in, because if I needed any fluids or anything, I wouldn't have to like get needles and stuff like that. Like, I'm not even afraid of needles or blood or anything like that, but it's just like when I get my bloods taken, I always faint or throw up or something like that. So I was like, if I got a bit faint when they did this, but I kind of like controlled it because in pregnancy you have to get your bloods taken a lot. So I kind of was used to it. But so yeah, I got my bloods taken, and then we were sat in there for a while being monitored. So we ordered a McDonald's, and we all had a McDonald's. So I didn't even say, in the room was me, my mum, Patrick and Patrick's mum. We had all 4 of us signed off to be in the room, and we didn't get put into the birth centre. We got put into some other room, and they were like, yeah, this is the Abbey wing, this is part of the Abbey wing, when we know it's not, because they're 2 separate departments, and the Abbey wing is like the whole birth centre and everything like that. But we did like our little room. It was a cute little room, and you'll see from videos and pictures kind of what it looked like. But they had like a little bathroom. There was a bath as well, but I never ended up having a bath. And then it has like a peanut ball and a big like bouncy ball thing to sit on, and then there was also this really random picture of a toad. I'll show it you here. It was the only photo frame in the room was a toad, and then there was like opposite my bed there was like a garden wall thing which had like trees and stuff on it. But yeah, the toad was really random. Like, my mum went in the bathroom, like, there's a toad. I was like, what? And she's like, there's just like one picture of a toad in a yellow frame opposite the toilet. So every time I'd go to the toilet or like go into the bathroom, I would just see a toad opposite. But yeah, it was a really strange thing. So after I had been monitored for a while, we'd eaten our food. We had so basically there's a group of doctors that come round, because we've been there so many times. They came around quite a few, because we were there for so many days, they came around quite a few times. But they'd go around to every single room and kind of go in and do a little checkup. Or that's what they said they would do anyways, I don't really know. But yeah, this doctor came in. It was this male doctor and this other female, and then first of all, it was just a normal doctor. It wasn't the doctor's check thing, and they came in basically to talk about the risk of infection, because I didn't at first I was saying no to any external what's it called, internal exams, external like exams up your, I was at first saying no to them because, well, one as well, the waters are broken, so it's at risk of more infection, and the more you put your hand up there, the more infection, the more risk you're going to have to infection, and I already had a risk to infection because of the waters being broken anyways. And just in general, like, I've seen so many videos of it being so painful, and I'm like, if I don't need it, then I don't want it. So the doctors came in and kind of tried to convince me in a way to have the internal exam, whatever it's called, to have the exam. But I really didn't want it, so we said, if you give us in like I'm not sure what time it was like 3 AM by this point, and so I was just really tired and wanted to sleep. I think I had a few naps there. I think I got some clips of me sleeping just before that. But yeah, so they were like, okay, we'll come back at around 3:30, so give us half an hour to just chill and see how things go, if anything progresses, and if not, then I might agree to have an exam. So they went out the room, and then like 10 minutes later this big group of doctors came in, and they're apparently, because they're supposed to do every single room, but I thought like they should just leave our room out because we've already had a doctor come in. and it was this woman, and she was so mean. She came in, and she came and sat, so there was like loads of people, one with a computer who had to type up what they were saying, and she came into the room and she came right next to my bed, right next to my face. So say I'm sitting here, she was right here, her face was literally right here next to me, and she was kind of basically saying really mean stuff. She was like, I don't want to scare you, but if you don't get this exam and you do get an infection, there's a risk of your baby dying. You might have to get a C-section. And so I don't want to scare you, but your baby will die. And it's like, she was basically just saying all this stuff about my baby dying and the risk of infection. It's like, I already know that there's a risk of infection, and you're just trying to scare me into getting an exam. That's not the way you're supposed to do this. This is not how you're supposed to do it. But she sat there for ages just talking, and it's like, and then we eventually said, like, we've had a doctor in here, he said he'd give us half an hour, and you just come in. Like, we were all quite asleep too. We were all like really like getting to sleep when they came in, and they were just really mean. So they went out, and Patrick's mum and Patrick actually went out and had a word with them and told them, do not come back into a room, like, because like after they left I literally cried, because obviously I didn't cry when they were there, but it was really intimidating. She was right in my face. It was my first ever baby. I'm literally 18 years old, and she's sitting there telling me my baby's going to die if I don't get this exam, making me feel guilty for not having the exams and that my baby's going to die. So we never saw her again. Those group of doctors never came back. There was like different groups of doctors that came other nights, but she never came back, which I'm glad about, because she was really mean. So far that's 2 mistakes I should have made: the phone call, and now the being mean thing. I also just want to say, throughout this whole process, we had loads and loads of different midwives. They would finish their shifts and have to come back, and we'd eventually see them again the next day where they had to come back. So we then had another new midwife, and this one was actually one that I was really happy with. She was really nice. So this was at 9:20 AM right now, so we'd had the whole night. I didn't really sleep very well. We only had my bed, which obviously was for me, and then this like pull-out bed, and then this chair. So it was kind of like 2 people were sleeping on the chair, I was sleeping on the bed, on the lay-down bed. So I was on my bed, two people on the lay-down chair bed, and then 1 person on the other bed, other chair. I cannot speak. But yes, so every now and then I had to get my temperature checked, my blood pressure checked, and they'd keep checking the monitors, because of, that's how they can tell about infection, like if you've got the infection already. But yeah, we had this really nice midwife come in at one point, and obviously I'm really nervous, but she came in, she sat on the bed, and she just spoke to me, and she spoke to all of us about all of us. She's like, tell me something interesting about you, tell me who's here. Yeah, she was really nice. She came and spoke to me, and she was kind of just making me more comfortable, and she was saying her like mottos and stuff, and how all she wants is for me to be happy and me to have a good birth and all of this stuff. It was really, really nice. I can't exactly remember her name because we had so many midwives that all the names are kind of all mushed up in my head. But yeah, she came and she was so nice, and when we thought she would be the one that ended up delivering the baby, but obviously we were there for ages, so she eventually had to leave. But while she was there, she actually made me feel comfortable enough to actually want to have the exam, because I knew that I'm going to need it eventually. They're going to have to give it to me, because they wanted to give me a gel to help induce labour, because the contractions weren't very strong and they just wanted to induce it and get it going. So I said I'll have an exam if she is the one that does it, and yes, so I did end up getting the exam, and I got the gel in at the same time, and it actually wasn't too bad. So what I was really, really nervous just before, because obviously I in my head I'd said no, I'm not getting it, you know, so I was really nervous to get it. I said to myself as well that I didn't really want any like medicine or help, like epidural or gas and air or anything like that. But then I did also say to myself, like, if I end up needing it, I need it. So I was like, they had the gas and air in the room, so I was like, I'll take it because I'm so scared, just so I can have it in my hand. So they gave it to me and they wanted me to try it, but I don't know why I was so nervous that I was like, I can't try this gas and air. So I ended up putting the gas and air down, and I had my mum on this side of me. I was literally squeezing her hand because I was so scared. And then she did the exam, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think it's just uncomfortable rather than painful. Like, it's not the nicest thing in the world, but that's the thing as well. I've never had any internal exams. I've never had like anything like that, so it's not something that I'm used to. I thought I'd put my necklace on. I have a necklace that says Aprillia. Never had an internal exam before, so it was a very nervous, it was very like yeah, nerve-wracking thing for me. So yeah, I sat down and I got the exam. Well, I got the exam done. So she went in there, she felt it all. My cervix was still closed and hard, and then she put the gel in. So she literally was really nice. She went in, she did it as quickly as she could, and she was like, right, I'm done, I just need to put the gel in, go zoom, and then pulled her hand out, and it was all good until like 2 minutes later, and it was the worst stinging pain I've ever felt in my life. Like, it literally felt worse than giving birth, like the actual giving birth part. It was so painful. You know when you like accidentally get some soap and it stings? It was like that, but like 100 times worse. Like, the whole thing stung so bad, and I was like, oh my god, is this what it's going to be like every time I get an exam? But what it was because of the gel, and obviously I'm not used to having stuff up there, and it made it really sting. But then after like 10 minutes, it did go away. So if you end up getting the gel thing to induce you, don't worry too much. It will sting, but it will go away within like 5-10 minutes. So after I had that, I basically got to chill for a bit and just see what happened, and I was very proud of myself because I'd gotten the exam done. But had that one, I've been induced, just let me like go and see what happens. So that was at 10:49 a.m. that I got that done. Also, if you can see in these clips, I have these compression socks on that they gave me, so I wore those literally the whole time from the... So after that, the midwife that we had, the really nice one, unfortunately had to go because she got moved onto it. So someone else had already had their baby, and she got moved on to have to go to them. I can't remember exactly why. She was like some certain midwife where she goes to like loads of different hospitals and stuff. So she basically had to leave, and we got given this other midwife. And she basically, they wanted to put me on a drip, but they said that the contractions, they would check the contractions. So I'm a little bit muddled up on the order here on this bit. So I got my bloods taken because they needed to take my bloods again, but they couldn't use the cannula, they had to do it in the other hand. But I mean, I did it and it was all good, and then I ate some food and it was really good as well. It was mince and mash, which was actually like my #1 pregnancy craving. So it's quite funny how they had my #1 pregnancy craving. So if you can hear noise outside, my neighbour is cutting their lawn, mowing their lawn, whatever you want to call it. I had food and bloods taken, and then I also had another exam. And then she carried on like to see if I could get the, what's it called, the drip. But then she told me that I was doing well enough with the contractions that I don't actually need the drip, and that the contractions are picking up by themselves. So to just go for walks up and down the stairs, and just have some loads of walking around and bouncing on the ball. So I sidestepped up and down those stairs a couple of times. We all went together, and then when I got back I was bouncing on the ball a bit more, and then suddenly my midwife just never came back, and a new one came in, and they started all over again with, you need the drip, so because your contractions aren't happening, and I needed another exam. But the way that last one we did the exam, it kind of like hurt more than the woman before, because the woman before was really nice, and she stuck her hand in, and then I'd be in pain and she'd be like, oh sorry, I'll stop, and then she'd have her hand inside of me, and then she would keep going like in more but slowly, and stopping each time, which made it 10 times more painful. And then she didn't even end up giving me the drip, and there was no point in that exam at all. So yeah, I really didn't want to get another exam, but then another load of doctors came in, and they were really nice, and they really helped me be comfortable with the idea that I do need it, and that it will probably end up going to a C-section if we don't get this drip. So I was like, yeah, I'm happy to get the drip, like that's all good. So then they went out of the room and came back in again and said, you cannot get the drip until you have another internal exam. First of all, they were just saying you can have the drip, but then they were saying we need to do an internal exam to see if your waters, if there's still some waters there that need broken, because the waters do come back. Even if they're broken, they come back slightly and then like break again and stuff like that. So we were like, but we've already had an exam, and they're like, it's basically the woman before hadn't written anything down about the exam, so she hadn't said if the waters were there or not, which was really annoying, because now I had to get another one, and I literally cried because I was like, I really don't want to get another exam. That last woman's one really hurt. So I was like, no, I literally don't want this exam. So they left, and then that's when the doctors came in and spoke to me about it, and they literally convinced me, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll have the exam. So came in and she did the exam. This was our first midwife. She'd come back, so she'd already left and she'd come back. I think this is literally the next day, I don't even know, I think this is Wednesday. So she did an exam, and it was literally like the nicest exam ever. It literally didn't hurt, it didn't feel too uncomfortable. But she found out that I was 2 centimeters dilated, and she also broke a bit of water because there was a bit of water in there. But so far, that out of the 3 exams I'd had, that was the nicest one. And she literally did put a hook in me, and like literally just like a crochet hook into me, and like hooked the waters and broke it. So it's weird because I've had both experiences. I've had the waters broken by themselves, and I've had my waters be broken. So it's a really weird feeling to know that I've had both. So yeah, that was that. And after that, they were able to give me the drip. So they attached the drip to my cannula, and that's when my contractions really did start. So this was at 11:20 p.m. on Wednesday, when I got the Pitocin drip. I think that's what it was called. I'm not sure if that was something else, but yeah, I got the Pitocin drip. And by the time, so I had that 11:20, and it was, my contractions were getting really, really painful, but they still weren't really progressing. They would just be painful and then stop, and then painful and then stop. So I was bouncing on the ball. I have a picture of me, and looking at the picture I can just remember the moment and all the feelings that I was feeling. I literally didn't want to carry on. I was like, I don't want this baby anymore. Like, if I have to feel this pain, I don't want to have to do that. I was like, I'm never having kids again. Why do people choose to have this many kids? Why do people choose to go into labour? I was saying all the stuff I was saying. I would literally have a C-section. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm in so much pain. And this was from 11:20 when I got the drip. This was at 5:57 a.m. on Thursday, so this was on her due date. And I was like, this baby has been in me for so long, I've been labouring for so long, I'm in so much pain, and I was literally debating just getting a C-section. So then doctors came in again for another thing, and they were not happy with how slowly I was progressing. So they came in to talk about a possible cesarean section, C-section, cesarean, whatever you want to call it. However, at, I can't see the time because I've cut it off on this video, but I'll put it on the screen. At something 59, I decided that I would first try and have an epidural instead of a C-section, because I knew that I would need to have like a spinal block anyways for C-section. So if I already had the epidural, it would kind of already be done, just need to be topped up. And I was so nervous because in my head I was like, I didn't want an epidural. That was the one thing I was like, I'm never going to need. I'm not going to need an epidural. But because I'd been in labour for 3 days, I had no energy left, and I could not do these contractions, and I needed that epidural. So if I do have another baby, I think I might be okay without an epidural, but you never know, I might end up needing it. But at the end of the day, having the epidural or not having the epidural didn't make any difference with my labour, apart from that it was not as painful near the end. So I did get the epidural done. Obviously I was really nervous, but it was an instant relief. It was literally blissful. It went from really, really bad contractions to literally like hardly anything. So it only did work on my left, and then on my right it did work, but like just above my hip, like on my leg, it didn't really work there, and a tiny bit on my lower back. So then we got the person to come in, so you can press the button to get more as well. Every 25 minutes I think you can get a bit more if it's not working or if it's like going off. But yeah, he came in and fixed it a little bit because it wasn't working on the right side, so he came in and added a bit more to the right side, and it did fix it a little bit, but I could still feel it on that side a bit more. But because it wasn't as painful as it was before, I honestly did not care.
Wanna give us a wave, Taya? No, I've zoomed in, sorry. That's what I was like, give us a wave, me, so I don't get anyone else. But yeah, go on then. A wave. Well, yeah, give us a baby too. But how you feeling?
Good, really good. Just tired. And then got told I had to put in the wee cannula, catheter cannula. I get so confused because there's one for your hand and one for your vagina, and they're called catheter and cannula, and they sound so different. So they sound so similar. But yeah, I had to put one of those in, and I was really nervous. I was like, is it going to hurt? And they were literally like, no, it's not going to hurt. And they just put it in, and it did not hurt. I hardly even felt it. And I think that's because I obviously had the epidural, so it was like I could feel it, but it was not painful at all. It was like, it's strange in my brain because I've always been like, I never want to get one of them. I never want to get an epidural because I don't want to get that. And so yeah, with the epidural, so basically I was so nervous. I was like, well, if I'm contracting, like how am I gonna sit still? But I was contracting and I would just go on the spot like this because I was so nervous and I didn't want to move. So they put the first needle, right, it's literally like a sharp scratch. It hurt less than getting my blood taken. That was to numb it, and after that I felt nothing. Like I'd feel like prodding and stuff, but I felt nothing. I didn't feel the thing going in, the plastic bit. And I always thought as well that they leave a needle in you, but they literally don't. It's like just a plastic tube that's in your back, like up your back and up to your shoulder, and then it's like taped down. But then I look back at pictures because I didn't want to see what it looked like until after I'd got taken out and I got back home. But you can just see like a little hole. So, but that was what it looked like, and I'm so glad I didn't look at that because that would have freaked me out when I had to get it taken out. But yeah, you can see in this picture here I look really blissful, like, and not in pain anymore, and just so calm and nice. So I think it was just before I got the epidural, we had these other two midwives came in. It was this midwife and this student midwife, and they were really nice, and they were the ones that eventually gave birth. Well, I gave birth to my baby, but helped me give birth to my baby. And they were literally the nicest ones that I've had the whole time. Yeah, she was there when I got my epidural because she was speaking to me and helping me. And she's the one that did the cannula. And then they also had to do a vaginal check. So they did that, and that was fine because with the epidural I literally couldn't feel it at all. I could feel it, it didn't hurt at all, wasn't uncomfortable or anything, because like the epidural was the best part of my experience. I know people always say this, and I was always like, yeah, it's fine though, I'm not gonna need it. But it was the best decision. This is best decision that I made the whole time. And yeah, I was just blissful and all nice, and it was the nicest thing ever. During this time as well, we did have a KFC at one point as well. I think this was just before the epidural, or like the day before, we had a KFC as well. But on this day that I got the epidural, so on Thursday, the day which was born, I literally ate nothing apart from one packet of crisps. And that was after I had the epidural, because I was all blissful, and I was like, I had half a packet of crisps. That was it for the whole day. In this time as well, hardly any of us got any sleep, so we were all knackered as well the whole time, because we'd had like 3 days with no sleep, and then obviously I was labouring as well, so I was in pain. So by the time I got the epidural, I was like, all I wanted to do was sleep. So I think I did try and have a few naps, but it was pretty difficult to do that. So yeah, it was 1:25 p.m, which is when I ate the crisp, and it was the only thing that I had that day. So I didn't even eat lunch. Everyone else did. I got offered lunch too. I wasn't hungry. I was in too much pain to think about that. So yeah, they did another exam, and I can't remember if they took bloods or not. I think they took bloods again. Yeah, in my arm. They took bloods in my arm just to check obviously infection and stuff. The thing is, right, after I did what they wanted, they never mentioned the infection again, the risk of infection, even though it'd been like 3 days. Like they were saying your baby's gonna die and all this, and then they never even mentioned it again. So it's like it literally was a thing just to scare and get what they want. But yes, I got another exam, and I got put on an IV fluid because my levels were low. And I was trying to drink loads more water as well because of my fluids being low. But yeah, it was quite easy, I mean, because it was just putting it onto my cannula that I already had. So then I just had 2. The weirdest feeling though is when they have the cannula, right, and they put this liquid in to clear out the blood through it before they put something in. It's like all cold down your arm. Ooh, it's like horrible but really satisfying at the same time. But yeah, so I got that. So I had 2 little wires attached to the fluids and the Pitocin. And then obviously I had the epidural on the other side. So then when I got, and then in a vaginal exam after that, like a bit later after I'd had that, it was at 6:46 p.m. and they told me that I was 10 centimeters dilated, and that I was gonna sit there for a little bit before I start to push. But yeah, I was 10 centimeters dilated, and I had gone really quickly from where I was 2 to 3 centimeters to 10 centimeters. Like nobody was expecting it. It was like, oh yeah, maybe it'll be like up to 5 centimeters. But we checked, and I was literally 10 centimeters dilated and ready to push.
Sore pain rather than
yeah. Is that just in that spot, or is it elsewhere?
Hi. Hi. You able to tell everyone what's going on? Obviously, but in an hour, because you're fully dilated.
As you can see here, I'm going to put in the clips of me pushing. I'm obviously not going to show anything like vagina boobs or something, because I literally, oh yeah, once I had the epidural is when I got the gown on me as well. I forgot to say that. but and it has like an open back, so there's some clips of my bum, so I'm obviously going to blur them and or cut them out. But 6:51 is when I was in first position, so I was just laying on my back. As you can see in these videos, I was just, I'll mute this. So yeah, in the first ones I was laying my back, 6:51 p.m. in my first position, just pushing, and at this point it didn't hurt when I was pushing, and then by 7 I was facing the back to push. They still had the monitors attached to me, the epidural, so all these wires were attached to me in all in these weird places. I had the catheter, the cannula with the 2 wires in, the epidural on my back, the monitors, so it was very difficult. But yeah, by the time I was on my back, it was hurting to push, and obviously I was starting to feel the contractions now, because what they did is I didn't press the button anymore to get more of the epidural, so that it would start wearing off and I could start to feel, so that I could select more, so I could push, because like with my legs I could feel them, but if I press on them, you know when you get pins and needles, kind of like that, like I'd press on them and they'd feel numb, but I could feel it still, and I couldn't like lift my legs up very well or walk or anything like that. But I could still change position, so that's a good thing as well that I want to let everyone know, is that even with the epidural you don't have to push on your back. I started pushing my back and then I went forward and leant over the bed, as you can see here, and I had my mum like in front of the bed, like holding my hands. So yeah, so I was pushing like that, and that was actually really comfortable. It just helped, like the gravity just got her down, and she was already down there quite a lot herself as well. And then eventually I turned around and I started pushing kind of on my side with one leg up, and this was like the last position that I started pushing at, so 7:20 until 7:50 when she was born. I was pushing with one leg up, and yeah, this was actually a really nice position because this sounds really simple, everyone can see, and you could see at some points her head was getting there, and this is one thing that I don't remember but everyone keeps saying. So basically a doctor came in at some point whilst I was pushing, it's just like hi and like talking, and I'm there like yeah, like pushing and in pain, and then because they wanted to make sure the heart rate was good, but then yeah, I did a push, just like oh wow, you're doing amazing, like I'm gonna leave, I don't need to be here, because apparently I pushed really well and they could see her head coming, and when they say you can see your head, in my head I imagine oh her head's like there, it's gonna come out soon, but they mean like they could see the tiniest bit of the head. Something I recommend as well, so they were like you can feel her head if you put your hand down there, and I was like no, I do not want to do that. Like now when I think about it, I'm like I kind of wish I did, because I feel like it would be kind of cool, and also I was like at the time like I wanted, so everyone was taking videos, pictures for me, which I'm kind of glad they did, because I got so many, it sounds really weird, I got so many pictures of the baby coming out of me, and I've got like a little video of literally the second she came out of me and got put on my chest, so I am including that clip, not the second she came out of me, but like the second she got put onto my chest, like seconds after that, and it was the best moment ever. But yeah, as I was pushing, you could just hear them all going, oh my god, she has so much hair and all this, and I was like oh my god, but like I couldn't think about it properly because I was just like focusing on pushing. That's something I recommend, is making sure that you get loads of videos. We were gonna bring a tripod and literally film it just for us, obviously not for YouTube or anything, just so that we can have that clip of seeing her be born, but we do have a little clip of her coming out of me and being put on my chest, so that is like one of my favourite videos as well. One of the hardest things for me as well is waiting for a contraction to have to push, because I felt like I just wanted to push and get her out, but the contractions is what helps to push them out, so I did have to wait until I got a contraction to push. But honestly, like even when you get to the end bit, it really does hurt, but once it's out, like I can't imagine the pain. Like when I was pushing, I was like I'm never gonna have a baby again, I can't do this ever again. But once she was out, I'm like I could do this 100 times, you know. It is all worth it. Once you push them out, you kind of don't think about it. But for me, yeah, when she was first born, so as you can see, I've got a video here of her first born that went down. This was such a surreal moment, like I can't even remember it very much, so I'm glad I got it on video. You can see there my mum talking to her and stuff, and her first born. But yeah, something that I didn't really, so obviously you know after they're born, so we had delayed cord clamping as well, like so she was on my chest for 10 minutes first of all before they cut the cord, and then I obviously had the golden hour of her on my chest for another hour after that before she got like anything. Obviously they checked her heartbeat, but they could do that while she was on my chest, but her cord was really thick, right? And so yeah, the placenta, you have to birth the placenta straight after you give birth, or it could go up to an hour, I think it is. But that was like more painful than the birth in a way for me, because like you're still getting like these weird contractions and you're still feeling stuff and you've got your baby, but I was like, oh, this is like really painful, and I didn't feel that relief until after the placenta came out. Once the placenta came out, oh, it was the nicest relief ever. I'm laying there, no contractions, no nothing, just me and my baby. You do start to feel the contractions again a little bit, nowhere near as strong, they're just like literally like period cramps. You start to feel that, and you also feel it sometimes when you're breastfeeding or pumping as well, because it's just your uterus shrinking down. But obviously when you first give birth, your belly's still there a bit. Something that also made this birth extra special was that Aprillia was our student midwife's last birth that she needed, so her 40th birth, to become an official midwife. So Aprillia made this nurse an official midwife, the student midwife. She made her an official midwife, and I just found that really special. She took some pictures with her as well to remember her as her 40th, and I just think that's really special that was just like an extra nice thing, because she was really nice, and I'm so glad that she is now a midwife, and I'm really happy for her. Her name was Rowing. So then she got put on the scales and got weighed. So she was 3.2, don't know what that's in, but exactly 7 pounds, born at 7:50 p.m, which is really weird, because a couple weeks ago, so we're obviously back in our house now, but a couple weeks ago we were in a travel lodge for literally 7 weeks. That's so weird as well, 7 weeks. We were in 7-Eleven was our room, so we were all on the 7th floor, but mine and Patrick's room and Penny the cat was room 7-Eleven, and we were like, imagine she was born at 7-Eleven, or imagine she was £7.11. Oh, there's horses going by. But yeah, she got weighed. Oh, also, when she came out, she did the biggest poo ever. It wasn't inside of me. She came out and then pooed all in the towel. It was all over my hands. Like, I didn't really care because she was just born. But now when I think about it, I'm like, that is actually disgusting. But it was just a big black poo everywhere, like loads of it, covering all of her. So her little feet had poo on them for literally days. Like, we were just trying to scrub it off without obviously hurting her. But obviously she can't have a bath because of her umbilical cord. But it's all gone now, obviously. It's a week later. But yeah, she had little bits of poo on her everywhere. But yeah, she got weighed. That's how much she weighed. And then I tried breastfeeding her straight away to get a latch, but she would not latch on. So my nipples are like flat nipples, inverted nipples. I don't know what you'd want to call them. I think they're slightly different, but I think mine sometimes are flat, sometimes inverted. So she couldn't get a latch. So I had some colostrum, and my boobs were leaking. They've been leaking for like weeks during the pregnancy. So I was able to get a few syringes, and that's what I was feeding her, was syringes. And obviously when they're born, they literally will take like one syringe and be fine for a while. So yes, but she wouldn't really latch, but the midwife had to leave because she had already gone past her thing, because she wanted to see how much she weighed and stuff. So they left and finished their shift, and some other midwife came in who was literally horrible and basically just wanted to, like, she wouldn't really listen to us. She was kind of just like, so first of all, we didn't put a vest on her, we just put on her bodysuit because it was really hot in the room, and so we didn't need to put on, we thought, oh, we don't need to put a vest on. And so some other woman came in, literally stripped her, put her on this really shining light, you'll see it, and she literally goes, she needs a vest. And then she complained about the umbilical cord, saying, oh, it's bleeding, it's not tight enough, because we had like a tie you on, as if we did it, and was like, yeah, well, we're not the ones who did it, the midwife did it. But she was kind of trying to blame us for everything that was wrong when it wasn't us who'd like done it. But yeah, she fixed that, did all that, and then so my cannula had come out whilst I was whilst I was giving birth. So she was saying I might need to get a new one. But like, I was like, I don't want to get a new one. Like, I want to be able to try and go to the toilet. So I did eventually try and go to the toilet, and I managed to go to the toilet. It was the weirdest feeling going to the toilet, because like, it was wee and blood and just everything all together. But I had to do 2 wees, and it had to be enough wee. So yeah, eventually I was able to stand up and do that, and then we got her dressed again, like really got her dressed, and then gave her to my mum, and me and Patrick went in to go have a shower. So there was like a room, and Patrick came with me, and I had a shower. And the shower was alright. It wasn't like the nicest thing ever, but it did feel quite refreshing. I bought shampoo and conditioner, didn't end up using that. I was like, I'm not washing my hair. Because I knew that me and the baby had to stay the night, and no one else was allowed, because I had to be on this ward thing with all these other women, and that was the worst night of my life. Like, it was horrible. I didn't mind being there by myself, but like, because if they had a room, me and Patrick could have gone in there and he could have stayed with me. But when I got there, they were like, oh, he's a minor, because he was 17, so he's not allowed to stay in there with you. It would have to be one of the mums if I got given a room, if I had to stay another night. And I'm like, that's actually disgraceful, because what if I was 17? Would I have had to stay there with a mum as well? Like, I've just had a baby and it's his daughter, he should be allowed to stay. But we didn't get given a room anyways, I just got my own little thing. And eventually, being on that ward, I got literally no help. They said they was going to give me nipple shields and stuff like this. I had to keep asking, and they eventually gave them to me and walked away. I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know how to use them. And they eventually ended up we ended up having to give her formula, because I was getting no help with this breastfeeding stuff. And so formula is what I had to use. And I was kind of disappointed, because I really didn't want to have to give her formula. I have this breast milk, my boobs are full, like they were leaking every day, with like colostrum and stuff, and I didn't want to have to give her formula. But she ended up having 2 bottles while she was in there, and we went home and we did have to buy some just in case. But once we got home, we started, so she would try and go on the boob. She would get on there sometimes with the nipple shield, but she's still getting there. Even now, she's struggling a bit. But she is getting there. And but yeah, right now we are pumping. So I am pumping, I think my pump is downstairs now. Oh, it's in this box. I've got the Medela pump. If you want a whole video about my breastfeeding journey and pumping journey, at the moment we are exclusively pumping and then trying on the boob every now and then, but I don't think she's going to get there anytime soon. She's getting there eventually. She is doing her thing. But my nipples are doing better. They are coming out quite a lot more, and they're less like in, if you know what I mean, especially after pumping. So that's what I try and do, pump and then have her on the boob. But yeah, my pumping is doing really good. The hackers are actually the best. I'll put them on screen what they are. But they are actually amazing for catching the milk, especially if you put one onto one boob while you're pumping the other one. And especially after a shower, my boobs just like leak, so I put them on after a shower, and I can literally get like a couple ounces from each, which is really good. I'm managing to get literally like 4 or 5 ounces every time I pump, which is really good. Sometimes it is a bit less. But yeah, if you want a whole video about all my pumping and breastfeeding and stuff like that, let me know down below. But yes, that was her birth. So I had to stay there, yeah, the next night by myself. But by the time I got to the morning, they literally came and kidnapped me. My mum, not my mum, Patrick and his mum came and literally kidnapped me, because I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. There's no need for them to keep me. They've done all their checks on the baby. They come in and they do checks on me, check on baby. And I didn't need it anymore. I'm like, that's enough. I want to go home. So yeah, I managed to go home. Oh, I'm just looking at this video on the computer. She is so cute. Yeah, we were able to go home. So I've got a few pictures of her in her car seat. She was adorable. We chose that little outfit. If you watched my last video, which is what's in my hospital bag, you'll see she was wearing that cute little peach outfit that I said she was going to wear, and the little hat was really cute too. Yeah, I also then had a sandwich, because I still hadn't eaten the rest of that night or in the morning, so I had like half a sandwich, and then when we got home, when it was eventually dinner time, we had a Chinese, which was really nice. And yeah, it's been amazing since then. I have filmed a couple videos. This week I am filming a like weekly day in the life, week in the life, whatever it's called, of me with a newborn. And I also filmed a day in the life a couple days ago, so that one will probably be out next week. And then I'm also going to be filming in a minute. I'm literally going to film in a minute, so I might look the same in both videos, but I'm going to be filming what I want for my birthday, or birthday wish list, as well, for you guys, so that will be up soon too. So comment down below any videos that you would like. I have her with me right now because she's downstairs, so I cannot show her on this video, but she'll definitely obviously be in the next video. And if you want to see her, go over to my Instagram, comment down below, in the description box down below there is the link to my Instagram. So if you go onto my Instagram, I've been posting pictures of videos literally every single day, and so you'll see how cute she is. She's changed so much since being born, and she's only 11 days old. She's being registered next week, so I'm going to be filming that too. It's on the 5th of October, so I'm not sure if that's next week or the week after. We have also had some visitors, so my nan's come to see, my mum's come to see, my little sister hasn't come to see yet. But yeah, that is everything about my birth. If there's anything missing or anything else that you would like to know, comment it down below and I will answer your comments. And yes, if there's any other videos you'd like to see, let me know as well, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you all. Bye. Mwah.